Hello everyone, welcome to my presentation number 2. My name is Chelsea Durand. Today I will be talking about the concepts of international trade in relation to the current status of NAFTA and NAFTA negotiations. We're going to start with mercantilism seen in current NAFTA changes and negotiations. A lot of the mercantilism views have been coming from the United States, more particular Donald Trump. Donald Trump's actions have fueled a lot of the mercantilist actions taking place between Canada, Mexico, and the United States. The basis of his ideas are that he wants to overcome the current trade deficit occurring in the United States. He also wants to combat this with beginning to export more goods than we are importing. Currently, we are importing more than we are exporting, and Trump sees this as a big issue and wants to reverse this. However, the way we came about it was free trade. This is how it worked out. So he's kind of trying to go against the natural curve of how our economics have kind of evolved since World War II. So we'll see how this plays out. The Trump administration actually created a 25% steel tariff and a 10% aluminum tariff on Canada and Mexico. The Trump administration did this because it feels that these two countries' imports to the United States threaten national security by degrading the American industrial base for steel and aluminum. So this is kind of protectionism, as I'll talk about in the next slide, so you'll get a little more in depth on that. But what this action in particular is exhibiting is that the United States is protecting themselves economically, and the way they're doing it is by hurting Canada and Mexico. So economically, they're trying to benefit themselves at the expense of the other countries. And Canada and Mexico do not want to have these tariffs placed on them by the United States. It hurts them, and it kind of puts them back behind the United States. So NAFTA would just be the United States and partners agreement, where the United States just reaps all the benefits. So from this, we'll move on to protectionism. So Trump's actions have led to Mexico and Canada both reacting to create policies to protect their own economic interests. As a result, basically, to simplify it, they're retaliating. Mexico vowed to retaliate to metal tariffs by placing their own tariffs on the largest American exports into Mexico. These include pork, fruit, and cheese. There's many other ones that were listed, like lamps. I just listed these 3 to simplify it. There is articles in my sources that you can go ahead and look at all these things that Mexico vowed to place tariffs on. Canada also vowing to place tariffs. They're planning on placing $12.8 billion worth of tariffs on American exports into Canada in retaliation to the steel and aluminum tariffs that were placed on Canada by America. And these were actually vowed to take place, set in place, these tariffs by Canada were set to be placed by July 1st of 2018. So we'll see how this plays out. We're still kind of sitting in the middle of these, and these negotiations have been going on now since 2017. Some of these articles are back from 2017, but still place a relevance into today. I've even had an article that was written and published less than 21 hours ago. So definitely check them out. This is really really reoccurring issue. I had no clue it had even gotten this big. So definitely pay attention to it. We're going to move on to resistance to NAFTA in the United States and resulting outcomes. So obviously, like I've discussed, resistance in the United States is huge to NAFTA. And a main part of this is caused by nationalism and the Make America Great Again scheme that Trump threw out there all through while he was running for presidency. So this nationalism in particular is seen by Trump's America First agenda. His desire within NAFTA is to abolish the Buy American ban in the NAFTA agreement. So what this ban did is make sure that all 3 countries are on a level playing field. When this whole thing kind of started, America was pretty high up there, especially on top of Mexico. They were pretty neck and neck with Canada, but this was to make sure that America was not just using the other 2 countries. So, this has kind of outraged Mexico and Canada as well. So, Trump's suggested policies for the future of NAFTA have led to a rising level of Mexican nationalism as well as Canadian nationalism, which has led to a decrease in the willingness of Mexico and Canada to cave to American suggested policy changes, as well as kind of inspired them to branch out and create their own things like the tariffs. So, what NAFTA has turned into now is kind of a pecking order at each other. But it'll be interesting to see how it plays out in the coming weeks, months, years, depending on how long this goes. This whole negotiation has been going on for over a year, like I said, so it'll be really interesting to see how it plays out. Here are some of my sources. You'll see some of them are pretty recent, whatnot. But like I said, it's been a lot of developing issues recently, so if anyone has any questions about any of the statements I've made, feel free to email me, get in touch with me. More than happy to discuss with you. I find this kind of interesting to see how something like this has been debated for over a year and they still have got no conclusion on what they're going to do with it. So anyway, thank you for listening to my